Hello, beloveds and friends. I hope you all are having a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are watching from. I wanted to make this video because actually it's something very personal that I wasn't really planning on sharing because I haven't shared it with many people in my life ever. But as I'm on social media and sometimes see people's profile pictures, I've seen a lot of younger people, teenagers in particular, having their photos of cutting themselves, usually their arm. And I used to do this when I was younger, and every time I see one of these pictures, it really hurts my heart and touches it deeply because I've been there many times when I was younger, and I know how it feels, and I know not obviously it's different for everyone, but I know what it can feel like to be in that space that you want to do that and also to share it. I didn't share it with anyone, I kept it to myself, but I can only imagine where their mindset would be. And for someone really young to be doing this, of course they need help, but they also need support. So that's why I'm making this video, hopefully for anyone who's going through this or who has gone through it. I guess I'll start with the first time I ever cut myself. When I did this, when I started doing it, I was very young. I think I was only 10 or 11, and I don't think anyone knew about it, otherwise they never talked to me about it. And it was really interesting because looking back on it, it doesn't really make sense to me. I was so young, I had so much pain, and looking back on it now, because I didn't have much life experience, I don't know where all of this insane, immense amounts of pain came from when I was just 10 or 11 years old. I didn't have a particularly horrible upbringing with my family. My parents were very loving people. I don't know if it was from a past life or ancestors coming through me, or my blood through them, or just the collective consciousness and coming into this world and feeling all of its pain. I have no idea. Or maybe it was just growing up in a world and a society where when you were young, you're so open to everything and to emotions and energy that maybe it really weighed me down, or I could feel it all as a young girl. And I had never been in love, in a relationship. Obviously, I was very young, but I remember carving into my desk, "Pain is love." And I mean, it's a song also, but I remember feeling this so deeply, being like, all love is pain and suffering. And I don't know, now thinking about it, I have no idea where this came from, but maybe movies, media influence, songs, emotional songs. But I remember feeling it like I had had my heart broken, even though I never had at that point. So this led me to cut myself, actually. I used to cut myself on my fingers and my hands and my wrists when I was really young, and I would cover it up with jewelry. And I had my first boyfriend when I think I was 11. Like, we never kissed or anything. He was just my boyfriend. I remember the principal of my school really had it out for me. I don't know why, but he just did. And I was a nice girl. I kept to myself. I only had a couple of friends at that time. But anytime something wrong happened in the school, my name would be called over the intercom, and he would yell at me and accuse me of doing it. So a few times, just because I was a very submissive kid and person, I always have been, I'd rather just try to go along with it than continue confrontation. So many times when I was young, instead of standing up for myself, I just agreed eventually that I did it, and then I was suspended. So this happened 2 or 3 times that year, I remember. So anyways, this principal decided that I wasn't allowed to hang around my boyfriend anymore, and if they saw us together, even though there was no reason for this, just the fact that I called him my boyfriend, and because he lived out of town a bit, I never got to see him at all. So this caused me a great deal of pain, and then I began cutting myself and actually carving his initials into my knuckles, which luckily didn't scar. I think the skin there has healed many times. I have little scars there. And I cut the inside of my legs as well, where no one could see. Why did I do this? Honestly, I was so young that I'm not really sure. It was my way of coping with the pain and the frustration that I was going through at school. I mean, everyone has household issues as well, so there was stuff from that. And I think it was just a feeling of being alone and not understanding and feeling like everyone older was against me. So cutting myself wasn't for attention. I know some people do it for attention, and I think the people that saw me doing that thought that's why, and they would put me down for it. So, but that wasn't. It was just my way of coping with it. When I was older, I stopped eventually. As I had more friends and I became happier, I just naturally stopped. And then the next time in my life I began cutting myself, much worse actually, was when I was about 21, 22, and I was in a very abusive relationship. And it got to the point where it was highly, highly toxic. I was in so much pain for so long, and I got to a point where I wasn't suicidal, but I had suicidal thoughts. I started to sometimes when we were in really bad fights. It was so bad that it got to the point where I knew one of us was going to end up dead. That was the path we were going along. It was very toxic, very unhealthy, and it was too much pain for my heart to handle. I didn't know how to handle that much pain. Eventually, when the abuse got worse, my way of dealing with it alone was again to cut myself. And this is when I realized why I did it. When you hurt yourself, especially cutting yourself, it releases a lot of chemicals in the brain and feelings and emotions, as well as distracting you from the emotional pain that you are feeling, even if only for a few moments. When you are in that much pain, a few minutes or moments out of it is very blissful, and you begin to crave that, which obviously I'm not saying is a healthy thing whatsoever, but it's also the same reason why people take hard drugs, strong drugs, and even smoke cigarettes or alcohol for a quick release. So I never did any of those things at the time, but I did cut myself, and I do have scars from it on my arms. I have thought of getting a tattoo over it, but for a long time I wanted to actually remember what I had been through and the fact that I'd been through it. But lately I feel like it's time to cover it because I don't need the reminder. I know that I'm strong and that I went through that. I guess my message for people going through this, and maybe what I explained a little will make sense to you, and I definitely don't want to shame people for doing this, as it is obviously shamed in society, because self-harming is a way of dealing with too much, when we have too much and we don't know how to deal with it. And people don't understand that, although they will go drink alcohol until they're numb. So really it's not very different. How I began to stop it: one, I didn't want to mutilate my body. I didn't want it to look that way. Even though I was in a great deal of pain, I had some self-love, and I didn't want to do that to myself and eventually have to show people or have people see. So I began to make myself make healthier choices and have a healthier release. So of course I ended up getting out of that relationship, thank God, and I began taking yoga, and yoga seriously 100% saved my life. Did I want to start doing yoga? No. I wanted to sit around and drink alcohol, maybe cut myself when I was really upset, sit around and cry and feel bad for myself, because those negative emotions begin to become so addictive, and we get comfortable in our pain, which is horrible when you think about it, but it's true. We get comfortable in it, and we're scared to open our hearts again, or to try again, or to try for happiness, because it's a scary thing to try after you've been hurt so badly. So I did yoga, I meditated, I self-journaled, I reflected, and I did exciting sports like rock climbing, trekking, kayaking trips. I like the outdoors and I like a little bit of adrenaline. I started paragliding. Things like this. Obviously, you don't have to become an adrenaline junkie to get your release, but I'm just saying anything that you are fully in the moment, whether it be yoga or meditation or surfing, skateboarding, anything where you have full focus on the moment and you're not thinking about all the things that are upsetting you or making you angry or sad, and you're just there because our mind needs a break, our heart needs that break. And there's much healthier options than drugs and alcohol and numbing ourselves and hurting ourselves. My best advice for anyone going through this is to make yourself go and do healthier releases. Do things that give you that point of focus away from all the distractions and away from your pain. Commit yourself to something. Sign up for a course that costs money, or ask your friends. Hold yourself accountable. Make it so that you have to go. And eventually, as your spirit is slowly uplifted, hopefully you will naturally not want to do those things. And another way to deal with this is to reconnect with your friends and family, with community, find events. I always tell people to try meetup.com, but now even Facebook groups and events are so easy to find. I have a self-love group on Facebook. We have over 1,000 members in the first month now. So if you're not already on that, it's called Awakening Self-Love Support Group. And you can find so many of these. So there's always support and there's always help. There is a lot of pain and suffering in this world. And I'm not one of those yoga teachers that are going to tell you everything is perfect and rainbows and butterflies and all this is not happening. And I'm not going to tell you not to feel the way that you feel. I'm not going to shame your pain, because your pain may be necessary. This pain on our planet is happening collectively right now. And I personally went through years of darkness and suffering. But why? So that I could find my light. I did. I had to fight for it, but I found it. And then I was able to share it with others due to my experience. The world weighs down on us. Sometimes we want to give up. That's natural. But instead of numbing ourselves, we can find healthy ways to release. I want you to know that you are strong enough to live this life, and you are strong enough to find and discover peace within yourself. If I can do it, you can do it. That is all. If you guys need any support or want to talk about this topic, please comment below. For more of my videos, hit the subscribe button, and I love each of you, and just know that you are not in this alone. We are in this together.